All right, is today is April 17th, 2026, and this is my review for the day. Um, Today there was quite a bit of volatility, surprisingly, considering that we're at all-time highs. Um, and it was a pretty difficult session. We finished the day at down $90. We had a total of 15 trades with a win rate of 53.3%, 8 wins, 7 losses. Average winning trade was 8.15 ticks, and average losing trade was 8.51 ticks. Um, So 8.15 for the winners, 8.51 for the losers. And my my biggest observation from today and a rule I might enforce moving forward is just not to trade the first 10 minutes of the open. And the reason being is not only does the first 10 minutes have a lot of really sporadic, unpredictable price action, but attempting to trade that successfully or unsuccessfully just invites too much emotional volatility. I think the biggest setback today was two back-to-back losses for 10 ticks each. And I think what we'll find in review is that those losses would have been preventable if I was in a clear mental state, which I don't think I was. I think when those trades occurred, I was just too caught up in the volatility and the emotion of the losses that I took in the first 10 minutes, and it caused me to miss the good opportunities. I think those two back-to-back losses were very subpar opportunities, or at least could have been managed a lot better. I don't think there should have been two back-to-back losses on it. So that's something we will explore in the review. So, um, let's start off with the first couple trades. Um, Trades 1 through 5 all occurred within the first 5 minutes. Um, Starting with trade number 1. This one looks like a short, and it is a 9-tick loser. So I can see a nice bearish divergence here, but there's not much else going for us. In all honesty, we have a reclaim below us, but we've already invalidated most of that reclaim, and there's no directional bias. This is only 2 minutes after the open. A directional bias hasn't really occurred. Not to mention there's a lot of seller absorption below us, so this thing could just skyrocket, and it looks like that's exactly what it does. So this would be a red star. I'm going to call it impulsive, missing context. Um, and honestly, I don't even know what this setup was supposed to be. Maybe divergence range. I'll tag it as that just for the sake of data collection. Trade number 2 is a 5-tick profit to the short side, and it occurs immediately after that first loss. So it's essentially a try 2 of the same idea. Very quick with the entry, and I chase it a little bit. So while this trade does technically win, it comes so close to stopping me out. I think I take 9 ticks of drawdown on it for only 5 ticks of profit. So I'm going to copy the tags from trade number 1, because this is again a divergence range, impulsive, missing context, and try 2. I'm also going to tag aggressive. This was a very aggressive approach, and it'll also be a red star. Trade number 3 is a 4-tick loss to the short side. And again, this is just 1 minute later. Oh, this is a long, actually. And honestly, I don't even see what the setup is here other than maybe being range favor. To add insult to injury, had I held the trade a little longer, it would have worked, but it wasn't really a great setup, to be completely honest. There was a good setup a couple seconds after I entered, so let's go back. I enter on a bearish divergence, which is weird, but then shortly after that, it turns into a really nice bullish divergence. And honestly, I might take the opportunity to screenshot that because I think that is a very good opportunity. Let's see if I screenshotted it already. This would have been divergence range. I don't think I did, so uh, let's just copy that into there so that I have it for later. Divergence range. I do think that was a very good one. But when I entered, it was not a good setup. The setup wasn't even there yet. So this will also be a red star. I'm going to call that impulsive and over trading. At this point, I've got 3 trades back to back in the first 3 minutes of the session. That is no bueno. I'm also going to tag that as tilt, discontent, and impatient. Trade number 4 is a 10 tick loss to the long side. This is my first 10 tick loss. And again, I cannot identify what I was trading. Maybe there's a little bit of a range here, a prior value area that I'm trading into. But even the location of where I'm trading it is not very good. Now it looks like I do a try two on this one, and I do manage to get a decent trade out of it. But honestly, I think I'm going to red star both of them. Over trading, impulsive, tilt. And this one's better. But it's still not great. I do eat a lot of drawdown on it. Yeah, same thing. Red star, impulsive, over trading, tilt. All right, so those are out of the way. Those were the first 5 trades of the day in the first 10 minutes. All red star. Even the winning trades are red star because they're just bad location, bad setup, and impulsive. So let's jump to trade number 6. This was a 15 tick win to the short side, and I believe this was a really nice range triple reclaim divergence. So already I can see a really good setup. We've got a nice bearish divergence after a strong move up. I go ahead and I bid, or sorry, I offer the previous structure. So it looks like 3250. It slips upward and fills me. And I eat a couple ticks of drawdown. I think 4 or 5 ticks of drawdown. I place my stop at the highs. It's failing to make new highs. So you see we put in an initial high, we tested it and failed, we tested it again and failed. So this is a nice downward compression, and then a quick puke down to the range lows. So this was a very good trade. I'll green star it. There's definitely a divergence, and I'll go ahead and call it a triple reclaim. We do have some pretty nice reclaim candles. We have balance favor, divergence favor. I'll also tag that as compression, multiple factors of support, entry good, exit good, slip favor. This was a pretty conservative move to move trade. I wasn't very clear about price action, but still a really good trade. Trade number 7 is a 10 tick loss to the long side. This is when I eat 2 back-to-back losses, and I'm trying to trade a triple reclaim divergence, and it is unfortunately not working. I think there is a problem that I need to sort out where if one attempt fails on a triple reclaim, granted the next attempt is going to be better, but I shouldn't just keep attacking over and over again. I need to figure out a set of rules for how to avoid catching a knife like that. My first observation is that the initial entry worked. It worked really well, and I got probably 10 ticks out of it, 10 ticks of profit. But I didn't take any off. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because um, I'm trading with a triple reclaim divergence setup like this. I trade with 10 lot micros. I should be taking half of that position off on the first pop. The first pop I get in my favor, I think I should be taking half of that position off. Uh, the reason being is just because while this setup is really nice and it has a really nice win rate, it's just not it's not realistic to hold the entire position for the entirety of the move. I think I should be at least trying to take partials off on a setup like this, which would have protected me from that trade coming back on me. Now, here's the second entry, and the problem I have with this entry is I do not have the microstructure favor. I'm slip against. Um, if I was slip favor, it at least would have given me an opportunity to take the trade off for a much smaller loss. I think a 10 tick loss is way too much in this scenario. And this is my third attempt, and I think, I unfortunately miss it. I think when the good setup finally comes, I'm just way too hesitant, way too scared to pull the trigger. It would have ended up being a very nice trade. So, um, I'm going to red star these first two attempts. I think they are impulsive. Um, Entry was early. The first attempt didn't have any slip. The second attempt was slip against. Also a red star. And then the third attempt, when I finally do nail it, a couple minutes later. Oh, this is a totally different setup. Never mind. So let's just call that a wash. Those two attempts on that triple reclaim were very poor. There's also um, there's also the question of what did the price action look like before that reclaim presented itself, and the answer to that is not great. There was a lot of really volatile spikes beforehand. The environment that this setup works best in is when there is a quick, unexpected spike, um, originating from an otherwise boring price action from a range or from a choppy trend. It's supposed to be an outlier price action, and this setup does not really qualify as that. I would call these like C or D grade setups. Trade 9 is an 11 tick profit to the long side, and this was actually a very good um, triple reclaim divergence. Um, the price action beforehand is very boring, very steady. We put in one very sharp move, and then we get a nice divergence to trade into, resulting in a nice steady trade. I like this one a lot, and I also think I took a screenshot of this one. If I do some digging, yeah, I believe this is the one. Right, 951, yes. So that screenshot is now in there for future reference. A green star, entry good, exit good. Um, we had absorption favor, we had balance favor, we had reclaim favor, we had divergence favor, multiple factors of support, um, split mid, kind of an aggressive execution, and that's pretty much it. Trade number 10, 5 tick profit to the long side. And this looks like This just looks like a range divergence. Kind of poor setup quality, but it's good enough. I suppose it worked. Divergence favor and balance favor on that one. I'll call that a green star. Trade 11, 9 tick loss to the long side. Again, I just think this is poor setup quality. I can see what I was thinking when I took the trade, but I honestly don't think these divergence range trades are working. I might have to 86 this setup. Just because they're not great. Honestly, I would much rather trade a prior value area or a triple reclaim. Trade 12 is a 7 tick profit to the long side. Do have a nice bullish divergence there. It's range favor. Also range expansion. I need to implement a tag for that. All right, so let's take that as range expansion. I had the divergence range working for me there. I had some pretty decent balance favor, and I had trend favor. I'll green star that one. Trade 13 is a 7.2 tick profit to the long side. And this is a very nice prior value area. I don't really have a current divergence, but I do have some old divergences that worked really well in this area. And I also have balance favor. So I think this was a pretty good trade. Reclaim, I had an ATR candle. This was a prior value area retest. Yeah, green star. I like this one. Trade 14 is a 7.6 tick loss to the long side. It looks like I'm trying to nail a similar setup. Prior value area with a divergence. But I think I'm a little too early to this one. It's not horrible. I'll yellow star this one. Entry early. Do have divergence favor on it. Also have balance favor. So that's a decent trade. And then trade 15, last trade of the day, 10 tick profit to the long side. We do finally come down and test the lows of the range, the prior range rather. Got a nice divergence. We got lots of balance above us. We're in an uptrend. Yeah, I think this is a good one. So PVA, balance favor, divergence favor. Had an ATR candle in my favor and trend favor, multiple factors of support. That'll be a green star. So, as I like to do, let's go ahead and look at my P&L curve filtered if I eliminated all the red star trades, and I would be up 300 bucks today. So, very, very good trading on the good trades, which sounds redundant, but it is a good practice to point out that if I had traded 100% focused and only taken the really good setups with multiple factors of support, um, I would be up a considerable amount today. I was taking very good trades. I had a 15 tick profit, an 11 tick profit, a 10 tick profit, 7 tick profit. I mean, those are good trades. Those are very solid trades. Um, I just think there's still an issue in my trading where I am forcing low quality setup. And what's nice about these testing sessions, like today was, is I'm finding out what I need to look for. So that brings me to the daily report card. Let's go over that real quick. Um, what worked? Multiple factors of support, for sure. That was the best thing that worked today by far. Um, Also, just patience and selectivity. I found that later in the session, after I cooled off from those early losses, and I really focused in and honed in on price action, I found I was having a very good read on the market, and I was patient. I mean, if we look at those later trades in the day, they were pretty evenly spaced out. Um, Unlike the first few trades that occurred within seconds of each other, essentially. So I just need to um, embrace that patience, take my time, and focus on those factors of support. 'Cause the more factors of support I can align, the better the trade outcome is going to be for sure. And looking at this P&L curve focus or filtered out of red star trades, it kind of hits home. Like I need to focus on that setup quality and making sure that those multiple factors of support align. Just to name some specifics, I would really like to have an ATR candle on momentum prior value area trades. I think when I had that nice ATR candle and that quick, snappy momentum to the downside, that just makes it a lot easier for me to fade into. And those trades really worked for me today. So just something to keep an eye out for. What else worked? Um, the triple reclaim divergences continue to pay. I just have to be more selective about them. And if the first attempt doesn't work, I need to be super cautious. I cannot just jump into the next attempt. I need to um, take a moment to really think about where the location of the trade is. What does the volume look like? What could my prospective targets be? Things like that. I just can't be diving back into that trade setup again. It's so easy to, and I've fallen for that trap so many times in the past. I just need to be super selective about them. What didn't work? Um, I don't think my range favor trades are working. Um, they work once in a while, and it's nice when they do. But they only work if I have multiple factors of support. If I have a nice divergence, if I have an ATR candle, if I have trend favor, if I have absorption favor, if I have a directional bias. When I don't have any of those things and I'm just trading a range for the sake of trading, it does not work well. So right now the setup is called divergence range. I don't think that's good enough. I don't think just having a divergence in a range is good enough. I need to have more filters. And what exactly those filters are, I think will only come with more testing. So I don't think I'm going to get rid of this setup yet, but I am going to be a lot more cautious when I'm trading it and try to find what factors of support complement it the most. And then what to do differently in the future. Honestly, just sitting on my hands more. when I sat on my hands later in the session and just observed price action, that's when my clarity came back. Just sitting there and watching and observing, because the more trades you place, the more scrambled your brain is. You're thinking about position size, you're thinking about your P&L on the day, you're thinking about the P&L on your account. Your brain becomes fogged when you're placing trades. But when you're just sitting and observing and watching the price action, that's when you're really focused. That's when you're truly, really focused. And then the second thing is no trades in the first 10 minutes. I don't think that has ever worked for me. It's easy to trick myself into thinking that works because sometimes, once in a while, I'll nail a really good trade in the first 10 minutes. Um, and I always fall for the classic, um, uh, you know, I trick myself into thinking that the best opportunities occur right at the open, which from a volatility perspective might be true, but volatility does not equal profit. Sometimes volatility equals losses because you're just the price action is so fast and so erratic, and there's no levels yet, and there's no established volume, there's no established trend. It's so hard to get a read in those first 10 minutes. It's just way better to let the 10 minutes play out, observe, sit here and watch it and look for those levels and look for those volume events and those um, future opportunities, but don't trade it because that's just fog. You're fogging your mental clarity, which will uh, pay dividends later in the session. Just got to sit and wait. So that is my review for today, and I am going to call it there.